Lit it like atoms, throw it in the steepest chasm to overcome my hazard. So even though I'm disabled, I can match the best rappers. You've had me broken, not spoken, not focused to anyone, but with these new flows, I'm drenched, I'm soaking, living in the moment. Your thoughts are conveying now, choking, cause the beast inside of me, you've just gone and awoken. Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, I'm Ange.
And I'm Beck.
And we are the Gold Diggers. Because we believe there's gold found in everyone.
Everyone is unique, interesting, and exciting with a great story to share.
And we aim to find it.
The question is, can we rise to the challenge and strike gold?
I need my sugar.
So I think this is the first time we've actually had a rapper in the studio with us. MC Wheels, aka Nathan Tasman, who was born with a very rare disability, and he came in with his motorised wheelchair and has such a positive attitude to life, doesn't he?
And I was so inspired by this podcast, Ange, because the thing that really took me back is this incredible relationship that Nathan has with his mum and the good things that she has instilled in him to make him who he is today, someone who is full of hope and just giving encouragement to everyone.
So stick around and listen to Nathan's story.
I need my sugar.
So this is how it works. One of us knows our mystery guest and the other doesn't. And today, Beck is up interviewing our special guest, Nathan Tasman. Now, Nathan is in the studio with us, and I'm going to give you 3 points because neither Beck or I have met Nathan before until today. So this is going to be really interesting because Nathan was born with a very rare disability and as a result actually suffered considerable bullying, particularly in school, but has become a rapper under an alias name. So,
well, there you go. I am very much looking forward to this interview today.
So stick with us and welcome Nathan.
Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Nice to meet you, Nathan.
Yes, nice to meet you too. Yeah, no, it's awesome to be here, so thanks so much. Yeah.
Great to have you in.
Yes, no, it's wicked.
And so for the benefit of those of you that aren't joining us on YouTube and maybe you're listening to us in your car, Nathan is here in the studio and you are in a motorised wheelchair.
Yes. A Frontier is I think what it's called. Yes.
It looks like a pretty cool wheelchair. Like
yeah.
You've got some coils and springs and it looks a bit...
Yeah, well, this is my fourth chair that I've had. Yeah.
What I really want to know is how fast does it go?
It's about, I think this one goes about 8 Ks.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wouldn't you officially have to wear a helmet?
No. What is it? It's a bit of a bummer because like they don't allow them to go further than like I think I've been in one about 13 Ks, but they don't allow you to go like much faster than that. So,
so you can't pull wheelies on them.
You can, but you have to be creative about it, like like I have, sort of thing. So like I used to do wheelies in my chair. They weren't technically wheelies, I guess, but like you know the gut, not the straight gutter, but the ones that kind of have like a little ramp to it.
Yeah.
And all that. So I used to drive my chair like flat out at that, and then pop like the actual front of the chair up, sort of thing.
Have you ever flipped it?
I did flip it once on a hill. I can't remember what happened after that. Yeah. And then I had like some times where like I've dragged people like they've held on and like I'm like towing them and all that sort of stuff. But
on
other people,
skateboards and things.
Yeah, but other people.
This sounds like an episode of Jackass.
Yeah. I was a bit. What do you say? Like trial and error with my chair in the past and all that sort of stuff. But I'm a lot more responsible now and all that sort of stuff. So
well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Well done. So let's go right back to your birth.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the condition that you were born with?
So my condition is called it's called SMARD, and it stands for Spinal Muscular Atrophy with respiratory distress. Right. So basically, it's a condition where the muscles within my body struggle to get signals like from my brain, and over time they slowly get weaker and weaker and weaker. And on top of that, I was also had a lordosis, which means that my spine like curves inwards. So you got like scoliosis, which I think can go like sideways and I think forwards as well, and a lordosis goes inwards. So, but like the funny thing was when I was born, they didn't know that I had that condition, so they put me in the category of giant axonal neuropathy, which is a condition that's completely different from what I had, because that's what they just thought it was. So they put me in that, and it wasn't until I was 20 until I was actually diagnosed with the actual condition that I have. And so it made it a lot easier for us to then like find other people around the world that have it, because it's very rare. I've only encountered, I think, one person so far in Australia that has the same condition as me.
Wow.
And I play wheelchair soccer with him actually. So it was a lot easier for us to like find information and all that sort of stuff. So, but I've been quite lucky in the sense that I'm still able to get around quite easier than what other people can. Yeah.
So this is like gradually deteriorated as you've aged?
Yeah. So like, I used to be able to like move, like my fingers and all that sort of stuff, but that's pretty much gone. Like I've just got like, that's me really trying to like move them and all that. So I used to be able to like grab, tennis balls and throw them and all that sort of stuff. I just can't do that anymore. I used to be able to write in school, like with a pen, and I can't do that anymore. It's like very fine muscle skills and all that sort of stuff. And I can definitely feel like within, my arms and all that sort of stuff, things are slowly getting a little bit weaker and all that. They don't know specifically how much it will get or like when things might really start to like, get a lot worse and all that sort of stuff because, I've got no back pain and all that sort of stuff, and I'm still able to get around really easily. I get around like on a skateboard outside of my wheelchair and all that sort of stuff, so I can still do all that sort of stuff. So they don't know exactly when, but it is suggested that is the outcome basically in the end. Yeah.
And so when you were a child, you obviously would have been in a wheelchair from an early age, and did you go to school at age 5 with all the other kids?
Yeah, so I got my first chair when I was 4.
Yeah.
Apparently my mum says I was a whiz in it. I just took to it like, with ease.
A motorised one?
Yeah, motorised one. Yeah. I was still quite an active kid wanting to participate with, everyone else sort of thing. So that's when I discovered I could sit on a skateboard and I could push myself around and all that. I went to, I don't know the daycare that I went to, but I went to Talara Primary College. I don't know if you've heard of Talara before.
I have actually.
It's down in like Curramundi sort of area.
Okay.
So I went to there from from preschool all the way to year 7. And then I went to high school in Kawana.
Right.
All the way to year 12. So, I was the only person in a wheelchair for my entire school life. Yeah, no one else was ever in a wheelchair. So my mum didn't want to put me in a special school because intellectually I wasn't, challenged in that sort of department in the sense that I needed to go to there. So she wanted to put me in mainstream school. And So,
good on
And
her,
you agreed with that decision? Was that better for you, do you think?
I don't really know if I even agreed to it. I think my mum just said, this is the school you're going to. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And
what was that experience like for you? I imagine there were some real challenges around.
Oh, I mean, you get like the occasional, like, troubling kids and all that sort of stuff and whatever. But I made some good friendships and all that sort of stuff. And, there was a lot of people that were quite nice to me and all that sort of stuff. But like I said, you get a lot of the other kids around that, like, I guess in some facet felt that they needed to, try and say some things here and there and all that sort of stuff, but it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of kids just kind of also forgot that I was in a chair because I was always trying to do everything that they're trying to do. So they would go out and play like football out on the oval or, swimming, all the like swimming carnivals, all that sort of stuff. So I was able to show that I could do all these things, and I think they just kind of forgot that I was in the chair. So, and I think a lot of them also thought it was cool because I'd give them rides and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
that would be cool.
Yeah.
When you're that age.
Well, like they'd jump on the back of the chair and I'd ride them around, or they'd sit on the foot plate, like sort of thing, and I'd drive them around and all that sort of stuff. Doing skids, all that sort of stuff. So, so I just tried to be as as who I was and what I
Yeah.
wanted to do, and I think they just kind of forgot that I was in the chair basically. So
Yeah.
so it wasn't too bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And what were your favourite subjects at school?
Well, I mean, I'd probably like primary school more than high school, only because you get one teacher like throughout the whole year of primary school. I mean, obviously, if you don't really like that teacher, it's going to be a long year and all that sort of stuff. But
Generally, primary school teachers are nice.
yeah, I had one interesting teacher in for year 1 and year 4. She Mrs. May. It'll be interesting if she sees this. But she used to keep this snake in a jar that she like cut the head off with like a shovel or something like that, and she'd bring it out and show us and be constantly telling like, "Oh, I killed this snake back in the day," and it was she was a weird, she was an
very
interesting,
proud of it.
Yeah, she was an interesting teacher. But
That would certainly make her a very cool teacher.
not a lot
Or
of us
weird.
thought. Not a lot of us, not a lot of us thought she was that cool. But yeah,
Headless snake in a jar.
yeah. But what was it? No, there was a lot of cool teachers that we had. But I think the other cool thing was like you were in like one class with all the same students as well.
Yeah.
That you had for the year sort of thing. So it was a lot easier like to form like connections and friendships with people like through there. Where like high school, you're jumping from this class to that class and this class
That
to that
would
class.
be challenging, wouldn't it? Like,
Yeah.
just
So-
changing classes all the time.
Yeah, and but like I liked PE, so that was definitely like one. I'm a big sports fan, so I really loved PE.
Talk to me about that, because like, you said like you just wanted to do everything else the other kids were able to do. Was there anything that you just actually couldn't do as a result?
Oh, it depended on what it was. So like say there was a lot of things that like they like a lot of things in like say sports carnivals that I couldn't do, like so like long jumps, shot put, all those sort of things and all that. I didn't really compete. I didn't really want to compete because at an early age I had to mature quickly to know the things that I couldn't do, even if I really wanted to give it a go. So like say in like sports carnivals and stuff, like I knew that I couldn't compete against kids like in running races, because even though my chair can go 8Ks, the common like folk man can just run faster than me in a chair, like even jog just faster than me. So I was like, I can't really compete in that, and I didn't want to, because I was like, yeah, it didn't feel like, like how it's like, participation awards. I didn't really want that. I wanted to actually feel like I was fully competing. And yeah, so I had to, so there was a few little things like that, and different like maybe like excursions and stuff like that, because I think a lot of the time they just also just sometimes forgot, because I was the only one in the chair, so there wasn't really anyone else, so it'd be like, oh, we're doing this, and I wasn't able to be a part of it sort of thing. So which I mean, as a young kid, it's like, oh well, that kind of sucks and whatever.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
but once you get older, you realize that, and so it is.
Did your mum play a big part in your schooling?
Yeah, I mean, my mum, has been like a big rock for me, like my entire life and all that sort of stuff. And, she, it was a tough thing for both. We didn't know how well it was going to go for both of us, but she knew that she didn't want to see me in a special school.
Yeah.
She knew that I wasn't needed to be in there, so she wanted to see me in mainstream school. So she made that that decision, and I think it was for the better as well. For sure. So she's been massive with a lot of decisions in sense of like making decisions that I believe were definitely for the better at a tough, very very tough like decisions. Like it's
like
either,
you say, it's physical, it's not mental. So you're right there, like you would have been able to keep up with all your work.
Well, I
easily.
mean, like even at a young age, like the doctors wanted to put rods in my back to straighten my back, and my mum was like, well, he can do all these things as in swim and skate and move around. If we do that, is that going to be taken away? And they go, well, we don't know. But the way that it sort of goes when you get rods in your back, like you can't, bend. And I think one of the guy that I know, Tristan, I think he even said his is like sort of made it that he can't really like move his hips that well and all that sort of stuff. So if I got that, I don't know what that would have done to my sort of childhood. So she just ruled that out completely. And it was like, until he shows that he's in a lot of pain and all that sort of stuff, then we'll look at it. So, but she had to make that decision on the fly basically and go, it's either this way or that way, and she made that decision. So
Your mum sounds like a remarkable woman.
yeah, she's one of the best. She's amazing.
And did she have to give up, like when you were born? Was there work that she had to give up in order to care for you?
So my mum, she was a private house cleaner for a good maybe like 20 years or something like that. Like for all of my school life, she was doing private cleaning and like hotel cleaning and all that sort of stuff, because it was the only job that she could do. If I got sick and all that sort of stuff, she was able to leave because she was her own boss basically and all that sort of stuff. So, or if I was sick, I'd go with her and all that. And then once I left school, she still did it for a while, and then her partner Paul got her a job to work in Dynamic Closures, which is a like door fitting company and stuff. So she works there now because I've moved out of home, so she's able to like not have to do a cleaning job now. And so
you're pretty self-sufficient then. You can take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Have you been like that since a child?
I've been a pretty good problem solver since I was a child. Like I was always the child like said, if you said you can't do this, I'd find a way that I could. That was always my attitude, like sort of thing. I always wanted to prove people like wrong, basically. Not like in a like cocky way and all that sort of stuff, but basically in a way of saying that like if you say I can't do it, I'm going to show you that I can. Because I guess I always wanted to show that people with disabilities, if given a shot, can do amazing things and all that sort of stuff. And I think a lot of the time it's kind of overlooked, that they can do these incredible things. So that was always my attitude. Like,
and do you think most people with disabilities have that type of mindset?
Maybe not everyone, but I think a lot of them definitely do. I've met a lot of amazing people with disabilities that have such a mental toughness that it's hard to see. Just even people with no conditions at all even struggle to like match their resilience and all that sort of stuff. So
I've heard that a lot about people with disabilities, and I think it's something that the general population don't get. Like we're very weak-minded in comparison, and I think because you're so used to knockbacks or accepting things that you can't do, as you've already talked about, and just acknowledging this is who I am, and being okay with that is such a great position of strength to be. So I do love that, and I can see that in you.
And I think like when you're a kid also, like you figure things out like as you go. So like it was like
you've got that determination to make it work.
And you solve the problem yourself basically as you go. So, and you don't kids have no fear, and all that sort of stuff when you're a kid. So you just give it a go. So like I saw a skateboard, jumped on it, I was good. The first time I went into water, everyone freaked out because I'd be swimming to the bottom of the pool and all that sort of stuff. And I just took to things and gave things a go. And
do you mind me asking how old you are?
I am 30. I turned 30 this year actually.
So when did you move out of home? I
moved out of home in 2018. So I asked my mum around like maybe, I don't know if it was like near the end of like 2016 or something like that. It was always like sort of a little bit discussed as to like what would sort of happen in the future sort of thing. Because I also...
So you're about 24 at that time? Or?
Yeah, something like that maybe, So, because I was like, well, I don't want my mum to be like caring for me forever, basically, and all that sort of stuff. And we knew that like there was this NDIS thing that was coming into play. Obviously, it took a while for it to hit the sunny coast and all that sort of stuff. So, but I mentioned to her, I said, hey, I would like to really look into this. Like, what's your sort of thoughts? And she was like, yeah, I'm open to it. We can look into it. And I
just give me clarity what that is. Is that like a support that's available for you to be independent?
No. So it was looking at a house. So like that, just basically what's the ins and outs of that. So we were able to get a house through Department of Housing. So just a small little 2-bedroom place that I rent. And and so we basically, they really wanted me to go into like a shared house, so I'd live with other people because it's a lot easier for them. And I was like, no, flat out, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
I said I
right.
wanted to live independently. I wanted my own place and all that sort of stuff. I don't need anything massive and whatever,
Yeah.
as long as it's in a fairly safe neighborhood and not like, like 40 to an hour away from like my mum in case I need, some assistance with something. So I'm about like 25 maybe minutes away, like at a best. Like,
Yeah. So you live by yourself. Can I ask, how you were saying that you've lost muscle in your hands? How do you do things that would normally require your hands?
Well, it comes down to like putting. So, if like say for a fork, like or something like that, like I've got to put it in between like my index and my rude finger, basically, and then use my other hand to like clamp it down like that.
Yeah.
So it's like squashed in there, and
Yeah,
then I
right.
can use the control like with my shoulders and upper strength up in here to like stab something, and then and then
That
bring it
is
up,
that
basically.
determination you're telling us about.
Yeah.
Good,
So,
problem solving.
so like I said, you figure things out. Like I figured out how to dress myself and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. And and then with the house, like I had to go through and like design how I wanted it basically, because they went through and modified everything to make it suit and all that sort of stuff. So like I've got, like I'd said, oh, well, let's take all these doors off the kitchen area sort of thing, like around the cabinets and stuff. So it's just easier for me to get things and all that sort of stuff. We've got automatic sliding doors, automatic windows that I can control. And then the biggest one was an in-ground toilet, basically. So I can take myself to the bathroom and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, if I can't have that, then I'm not able to move out of home.
Yeah.
And they were very much
Accommodating.
keen to
Yeah.
do that and all that sort of stuff.
So you can actually get out of
great.
your chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can get in and out of my chair. I have a high-low bed, so it's pretty low to the floor, and then we lift it up, and then I can just kind of like transfer over the left side of my armrest, and so I do that with my support workers, and then I can also do it just by myself if needed. So because I used to catch up with a friend who I play soccer with, Jack, but he lives in Brisbane now, so he used to live in my area, and we'd catch up, and that's how I'd get into the chair to go and meet him. But yeah, so it doesn't really happen that much anymore now, but yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So soccer is one of your hobbies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I started playing wheelchair soccer in like 2016, I think it was.
Yep.
And so we play in Brisbane, and I play for the Moreton Bay Excelsior is what we're called. We used to be the
Nice.
Moreton Bay Jets, but we're now Excelsior.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is the name that they chose. So,
Nice.
yeah, so we play like in wheelchairs. We used to play like in day chairs like this.
Yep.
And there's these special chairs that you can get called Strike Force chairs.
Nice.
Which basically you'd picture like Mario Kart, basically.
Yeah.
But in real life, that's kind of what it's like. So they're like these little Formula One little cars, like
That would
driving
be
around
cool, yes.
with like guards on. The chairs go like when you go, they go about the same speed as a day chair,
Yeah.
but they're quicker off the mark. They've got so much like torque or power or whatever,
The
like
sport
off
model.
the mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you spin, like because you got to spin, like spinning is to like kick the ball basically.
Yeah.
So
Wow, that
if you
sounds like fun.
well, yeah. So we got these big metal guards that are on the front, and if you go to do a spin, you could literally like probably break someone's leg.
I'm imagining
Wow.
like bumper cars.
Yeah.
It's basically that. It's
awesome.
literally like bumper cars.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've knuckled down a lot on the contact part. So you got to be really cautious of trying to get the ball off the other person because you battle like two chairs will go in together to like try and battle for the ball, and then once they got a chance to pass to someone else, they'll pass, and so you
Yeah.
got to watch like where your chair is going to potentially crack into someone and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of like concentrating to make sure that you don't hit
And it's
anyone.
competitive.
Yeah.
It's very competitive. It's gotten very competitive. Everyone's in a Strike Force chair now because you can get it through your NDIS
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff, which is really handy because there's also a safety feature as well. you need these chairs to actually play this sport as a safety feature. So it actually is really beneficial.
I just love that there's things like this available for you out there.
Yeah.
How great is that we've been able to do that?
I mean, like, you know, there's wheelchair hockey, wheelchair basketball, wheelchair tennis is like blowing up bigger now since with Dylan Alcock and all that sort of stuff. So,
Great.
yeah, there's a lot more things with like disability stuff that's coming to the forefront now because, like I said, you give them a shot to figure out a way to do it. It's like, like we have our own World Cup and all that sort of stuff. It's all over the world. Like, you know, you got Japan and USA and France and Denmark, England, all these countries. So they run this like massive World Cup, and there's a chance of trying to get into the Paralympics, but I think they're having a few issues with trying to get it in there.
Yeah,
but,
right.
So
my very first article that ever got published was about 15 years ago on the Paralympics.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, and it was just amazing reading the stories I compiled stories of the competitors, and just amazing
I mean,
what
like
people have overcome,
you know,
and what they're doing.
like Kurt Fernley and all that sort of stuff, like, you know, being in the chairs for like the wheelchair sprinting, I think it is, and all that sort of stuff. But sports always, like, I'm a big rugby league fan and all that sort of stuff, so wasn't able to play that sort of thing, so this was like the next best thing that I could do to have that like sports camaraderie and team, you know, and all that sort of stuff. So
Good. And do you have any other hobbies that you do?
Well, I go by the name of MC Wheels, which some people do.
I was
know me
wondering
as.
about that. We got an alias name in there.
Yeah.
MC Wheels. Perfect.
Yes. So I've been a hip hop artist for I don't know, maybe like 13, 14 years now, something like that. So
so what got you into that?
So near the end of my high school, about like maybe I might have been year 11, I think I started. My case manager, Dominic April, he introduced me to a friend of his named Roger Kitson, who was a musician, done like, you know, folk music and all that sort of stuff, written music and whatever, records and all that sort of stuff. And he said, I'm going to bring him in, and if you're keen to like do some music stuff like on a Thursday afternoon and just see how that goes, because he was very nervous as to what my life would be like outside of high school.
Were you already showing interest in music?
No, not at all. Yeah. So I had no interest, like I'd listen to it, but I had no interest in music or whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so, but he was nervous because it was just sport for me, and there was not really anything out there at that time, sort of thing to sort of do. So he was really nervous that like, you know, I might not be doing anything outside of I finish high school. Yeah. So he brought Rog in, and we were just basically just learning your basics, like with just drumming sort of thing, and timing and patterns and all that sort of stuff, and just playing music. And we were doing that for, you know, every Thursday, and I was really enjoying it. And then my sister was dating a guy at the time who was trying to be a rapper, and I liked Eminem as well. That's, you know, as well. When
I can tell by the t-shirt.
Yeah,
Eminem t-shirt on.
So I was listening to a lot of him, and anyway, and I don't know what I still don't know how it happened, but I just chose to just write a song, like just one day. I had my computer in my room, and I just started writing this song, and it's awful song, like it's awful, like and all that sort of stuff, but like I basically just wrote whatever came to mind, and then I showed it to Rog, and he was blown away because he didn't even ask me to do that. Like he was just basically just doing just drumming sort of stuff. And it was
so you thought it was bad, but he thought it was good.
He thought it was. He didn't think it was a good song. I'd be shocked if he thought it was a good song. But he was more blown away by the fact that I wrote a song, because he didn't ask me to do that. Like, and he was because I had verses, I had a chorus, and I had no idea about song structure and all that. So he was just kind of blown away that I've wrote like 3 verses and all that. And he's like, let me take this, and you know, and then basically he wanted to then come back to my house every Thursday afternoon for an extra like hour or whatever it was that we did, and we'd jam for more. And he said, I'm going to take this song and I'm going to just let me have it. And so he took the song and he created like a little keyboard beat and then like recorded it and then brought it back to the house the next day and showed me. And I was like, oh, that's my song. And then basically he was like, let's continue this. And then it just kind of fueled the fire to just be like, just, keep this going. And he just said, look, just write down whatever it is and just go from there. And basically whatever ideas sort of came in mind, I just started to write and write and write. Looking back on it now, obviously where you start, like, everything's a bit average when you start and all that sort of stuff, and that's where it was. But it was the stepping stones of the foundation, that I've been able to create. And
now are you like recording? You've released any albums?
Yeah. Or anything? So he really wanted to continue this. So he saw a good opportunity that we could like create an EP. So we created an EP, and then he was like, this could be a really cool documentary. So he was like, do you mind if we like maybe turn this into a doco, which took about 3 years for them to make and all that sort of stuff. Him and his like friend Lenny and all that sort of stuff. But in that time, I made like my first album called My Introduction. There was a lot of people that were involved in that. And then we didn't break up as such, but like we're all still like friends, but we just kind of went on our separate ways and all that. And then once I sort of learnt the skills as to what I sort of do, I then went and created my second album, which was Dark Side of Happiness, which was mainly like me. Like I did all the writing for each album, but like I was constructing everything, basically like organizing beats and all that sort of stuff. And then I just recently put out my latest album in 2021, which in my opinion is probably one of my best work, called Story So Far.
Wow.
So
this is incredible.
So
amazing.
and then there's just been
It's all rapping.
Yeah. Oh, I can't. I'm no Sinatra. Yeah. I definitely can't sing. But like,
So your story so far, the third album, what's that kind of, what's that overarching message through that?
I think it's based what the title. The title pretty much like speaks for itself, I guess.
Yeah.
Like being, this is my story so far, and there's a lot of things that like I mention within it to like that I've done in the past, and or where I was at, and like connections that I've forged, all that sort of different roads that I've taken to get to this point. And like, this is where the story is at so far. And I don't know where it'll go after that, basically.
I mean, you seem so strong. You seem to know who you are, what you want from life. Has there ever been a time where you've not been like that?
Yeah, 100%. Like, and it was in high school, like, because around like the 10th grade, early, like, grade 11, because I didn't even know where that music stuff was going to go. I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. And I was enjoying it. But like at the early stage, because it was like a few months before I even chose to even write a song. So, I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was very jealous kid of my stepbrother who was playing rugby league as well, because he got the chance to do it and I didn't get to do it, and all that sort of stuff. And that's where I saw my life. I was like, I want to be a rugby league player, and all that. And knowing that I couldn't do that, it was quite upsetting. So I didn't know what I would do, once I left high school and all that sort of stuff. And
so that took you to some like darker places.
Yeah, for sure. And my mum had no idea how to like help me out of that. Like, she was there to, comfort and support and all that sort of stuff. But even she had no idea, because she was like, she we spoke about it ages after, and she was like, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know really what to try and do, because you didn't really talk about any other sort of hobbies.
And imagine, like, if you just want to be a rugby league player, well, there's just physically no possibility for that.
Yeah, and she had to have like harsh conversations with me as a young kid to be like, I'm sorry, but you can't do this, and all that sort of stuff, and you're going to have to like accept this, and all that sort of stuff, which was hard for me. But I never realized how hard it would be for her to like look at her own child and say, you can't do this, you're going to have to accept that, and and all that, and basically like say, this dream that you want is over, it's done, it's not going to happen, sort of thing. But like, the funny thing is that once I got into music, it opened my mind more in the sense that it's like I could still have that like rugby league dream if I wanted to, and all that sort of stuff by like, you know, being a coach or being a player agent if I was able to, or like administration of like a club sort of thing. So the thing that you want necessarily in your life, even if someone says it's not possible and it's looking like it's not, you might be able to open your mind up to a different avenue of the actual dream that you want, just in a different section.
And still be involved in
and
the
still
area.
be involved in it, you know what I mean?
So music really came in at a time where you really needed it and it was a gift to you.
Yeah, I think, you know, like I always look at it in a way that like, you know, I was given a body that physically couldn't compete with other people, but verbally I was able to share, you know, who I was and skills and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, everyone, I feel like I said, is put on, you know, like world, like, or for a purpose sort of thing, you know, and all that sort of stuff. So everyone has like some little thing of what it is. Might take a little bit of time to discover it for sure, but everyone, in my opinion, has that, you know, and mine was not a physical, skill. It was more like through the verbal and creating.
Everybody who's listening right now is waited with bated breath to hear you rap. So will you share some with us?
We could do something. I'm just trying to think as to what I could share. That's
PG.
That's PG. So I've got this one. It's actually quite a special verse. This one, I recorded this verse a while ago for a guy named Red Temper, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago. He was in a wheelchair as well. He was a rapper from Newcastle. And I don't know what his condition was, but he was, you know, very disabled and all that sort of stuff. But he wanted to also be a rapper, and he found out about me, and he wanted me to be on his album and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'd be down for it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to ever meet him like face to face. It was only online. We ever spoke and all that sort of stuff. And it's definitely a regret that I have, because he asked, you know, would you be able to come down to my album launch? And unfortunately, I wasn't able to. And he passed away not long after that, which was unfortunate. But he was very on about like mental health and all that sort of stuff and all that. And he put out a song called Mental War. And so I wrote this verse for him. My verse for that song. And it goes, it's a mental war, so I'm a kick in the door and keep it raw. I'm going to give you everything from my core. Impacts like a meteor, it's hard to ignore, but I'm going to tell you damn sure that I'll soon transform into something in this life you can't even imagine. It's impossible to fathom, like a stealthy assassin, hunting for his passion in a determined fashion. Dreams have had him other times, being savagely shattered. Now, when they present him like ash, I catch him with all this negativity. Split it like atoms, throw it in this deepest chasm to overcome my hazard. So even though I'm disabled, I can match the best rappers. You've had me broken, not spoken, not focused to anyone, but with these new flows, I'm drenched, I'm soaking, living in the moment. Your thoughts are conveying now, choking, because the beast inside of me, you've just gone and awoken. Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah. So,
and I love the message that's coming through. Like nothing's going to hold you down, and inside of you you've got something big bursting out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I've always wanted to write in the sense of what your environment, you know, is basically. So, you know, I wasn't a tough guy, you know, in, you know, a tough streets and all that sort of stuff and whatever. So
like your usual rappers, you mean? Yeah.
Well, like, you know, like I'm not gonna, like there's different styles of like of rap in different, you know, areas around, you know, the world and all that sort of stuff. And Sunny Coast definitely has more of a chilled kind of laid back kind of vibe sort of thing. But
you still walk through tough stuff. Like, you know, they sing from a place of that they've grown up in the Bronx or whatever, and there's been around a lot of violence and crime and what that environment is like. Yeah. You haven't been in that environment, but you've had to be as strong and as resilient because of the environment that you're in.
Well, I mean, like you look at people like, you know, like Tupac and Biggie and all that sort of stuff, and everyone will be like, oh man, the language that they say and all the things that they say in songs, but they're literally just talking about their world that they grew up in, basically. Like that's what is for them. I didn't grow up in that sort of world, so it's not, I can't talk about that sort of thing. So my thing was, I wanted to be like relatable messages that just, you know, anyone out any country could potentially relate to, you know, sort
And
of
rap
thing.
doesn't necessarily have to be hardcore, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It
It
can be
does-
something that
no.
gives a good message,
Yeah.
can't it? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah.
And that's why you like Eminem, because Eminem he broke the mold, didn't he?
Well,
Unusual rappers.
he was definitely a very controversial rapper, definitely like in his early life and all that sort of stuff. But you know, he's a storyteller as well at the end of the day, and I like stories and with songs, and you know, I've written a few story songs and all that sort of stuff, and but again, if you really listen to his music, he talks about the life that he had of growing up in, you know, trailer parks, and his mum having, you know, a bit of a Munchausen syndrome and not being a great mum and all that sort of stuff. And didn't have his father around and being broke and poor and all that sort of stuff. And then once he got famous, then he talks about how the hardships of being famous and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So Nathan, talking about mums, your mum's obviously instilled a lot of good things in you.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
sounds amazing.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about your upbringing, your siblings, and who mum was to you?
So my whole family comes from Kingaroy.
Yeah.
And
I used to live in Kingaroy.
oh,
Of
yeah.
course you did. You've lived everywhere, Beck.
My sister was born there.
My mum is Rasmussen.
Yeah, I didn't know that name.
Rosalind Rasmussen. So I have two sisters, Chloe and Sky, and I got a stepbrother named Tim and a stepdaughter named Lauren.
Yeah.
My mum, she's, you know, it's hard to really sort of put into words, really, like just how, you know, an incredible of a person that she is, you know, like.
So hang on, so she would have had how many children altogether, including the steps?
Well, so we got 5 in the family, but she
Yeah.
had 3 kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my sisters are twins.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's, you know, incredible. Like she's one to do anything for her kids, like, and she, you know, one of those like amazing mums that like always puts, you know, kids and other people first way before herself, and you know, and it sometimes very sad to see because, you know, she's not thinking of herself. I'm like, no, it's, you know, like it's, you should do this and all that sort of stuff and whatever. But yeah, I think just the humbleness and the being, you know, down to earth and all that sort of stuff, and just being a general, like, just nice person, you know, is all the qualities that she wanted to just instill in me, Chloe and Sky, and all that sort of stuff, you know, and just
Beck and I recorded a podcast a few weeks ago, and we talked a little bit about, I think it was in that Ask Mum episode where our kids were in here and they were asking us questions, and what is one of the challenging things as a parent you go through, and we both responded that it's when we see our children suffer.
yeah.
And I can imagine for your mum, she's had to endure a lifetime of watching that.
Yeah. Well, we basically lived in each other's pockets, you know, for like 24, 25 years of my life, basically, until I moved out of home, because like I was her like just main, you know, focus basically a lot of the time. And, you know, I don't know whether or not Chloe and Sky, you know, maybe felt a little bit jealous, like, as well, because they didn't maybe get enough focus and all that sort of stuff. But, like, you know, we'd be going to doctor's appointments all the time. We'd be, you know, doing this. I'd need her to drive me here. I'd need her to drive me there, and, you know, and all that sort of stuff.
How did your mum cope when you moved out?
It was
She would have
tough.
felt
It was tough for both of us because, you know, she felt a bit lost because she was like,
Of course.
I don't have. I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that, you know, sort of thing. And
Yeah.
it was tough for me as well because I was in a house with all these other people and all that sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden there's no one there and it's just me, sort of thing, and all that sort of stuff, with the, you know, occasional support coming in here and there. So it was a big challenge for both of us. But I said, look, I think the biggest thing is that I noticed as the years went on, like, our relationship went from mother and son to like carer and client sort of thing, and I wanted it to switch back, sort of thing, and that's what it's come down to. Like, you know, she's just a mum now, basically. She does like zero care, like, you know, for us and all that sort of stuff, because I've got all other team, you know, around to help assist with that. So it's been really good, and it's been great to see that she can now go and do things that, you know, she's probably been wanting to do for ages and all that sort of stuff. And I mean, she's a grandma now anyway, so she doesn't even care about me anymore anyway. So it's all about.
You'll
As a new
always
kid
be
on the
on her
block.
mind, Nathan.
So it's all about Jack now.
And what about for her, the challenge as well? I think, you know, as parents, we're always looking at what is the future for our kids? What does the future look like? And for her, there must have been that, as it was for you, that challenging time where I don't know what the future looks like.
Yeah. Well, both of us didn't. And I think that was hard for her because I was a kid that was always saying, I want to do this. And I wanted to do karate when I was a kid. And she had to say, you can't do karate. I'm sorry, but you're not going to be able to do it. Yeah. And she's having to say to like a small child, you can't do this, and like just shatter like, you know, things and all that sort of stuff. And I was shattered and I was annoyed because like, why you keep saying I can't do this sort of stuff? And when it wasn't until I got older that I was like, oh, okay, I see where you were coming from now and all that sort of stuff. But I didn't see how hard that would be for someone like her, you know.
It also sounds like, while she's saying you can't do one thing, she's saying but you can do something else.
Like, you know, she was always like open for me to like give things a go and all that sort of stuff, but it was like, I guess within like the limitations, I guess, that I sort of had, sort of thing, you know. So
so is there work for you? Is you're wrapping it? Is that what you do?
I do a lot of like disability events and all that sort of stuff, and motivational talks as well. So at like schools and events, and that's definitely something that I'm trying to just sort of continue on with, and as
I
much
think
as I
you'd
can.
be excellent at that.
I'm getting a lot better. Like, I've done more gigs and I've done motivational talks, and the funny thing with like motivational talks is like I've got to start more. I don't really want to be like someone who just has like a script in front and I just read it out, and that, like, because it doesn't come natural to me that way, like, or it wouldn't come authentic, I guess. So I kind of make dot points in my head, but then when I'm on stage doing it and you do it, you got kids that are just
distracting you.
they're just
Looking
like,
disinterested.
They're just like disinterested, and you're like, come on, be inspired, like, you know, sort of thing. And it doesn't come across like the same way. So I'm trying to get more used to like being a bit more natural with that, where like when you do gigs,
well, as soon as you rap, you get their attention. Sure.
Yeah.
well, it's more when you rap, you know exactly what you're saying because you've already pre-written it.
Yeah.
So you're not lost for words.
Yeah.
So when you do like motivational talks that I've sort of done, the audience of how their reaction is can get you a bit like, you know, nervous and a bit stumbled because it looks like they're disinterested, but then people come and go, oh, it was awesome, I loved it. I was like, didn't show like you were, like, sort of thing.
So what would you say is your drive and your hope that keeps you going?
I think, like I said, my drive is always, you know, to just show that I can do things, and I think I want to, you know, live a life where, you know, people can look back on and be like, wow, he, no matter what was thrown in front of him, he went all full into it, and just, you know, gave it a full on crack, and no matter what the challenge was, he figured out a way to get past that sort of thing. So I didn't want to be someone who was just like, well, yeah, Nath, he was in a chair, he didn't really do much and all that sort of stuff. I want to show that, you know, people in wheelchairs can overcome really difficult things and do amazing accomplishments in life. And that's always been like my main goal. And we have this song, me and my mate PJ, that performs on stage with me, called Can't Hold Me Back, and the essence of the song is basically saying that nothing can hold you back outside of yourself, basically. You're the only thing that can. So you'll find a way around any obstacle.
I think it's time for gold now, Beck.
I think it is. Nathan, I can see so much gold in you. And everything you just said is so true. Like, you've got so much light and life in your eyes, and determination and love of life, which, like you were saying, is probably more than many able bodies of people who have been defeated by life. And yet you've accomplished so much just by, from an early age, having to problem solve everything along the way.
Yes.
And having that mindset switched on of, how can I do this?
Yeah.
Like, I might not be able to do it how everyone else does it, but I can do it in a different way. And that makes you so unique because
Thank you.
you've learnt a different way of doing everything.
I appreciate that.
And
Thank
then
you.
when you've come across obstacles where, say, you can't do something, then you've been able to shift into the space that, so you can play soccer instead of rugby. And you've been able to accommodate that passion into something slightly different but still as satisfying, which is great. And your mum, oh my gosh, she just sounds so beautiful.
Yes.
And
Yeah, she is.
I just give her so much credit for the goodness she has put in you, because you have a lot of goodness.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And the fact that you're using your gifts and talents, that you've been able to discover so many things along this path, right? And you are still pretty young, 30's not old. No. So, and to have been to overcome so much in your lifetime, and to be playing your soccer at that level that you're playing at, to be recording albums, you're incredible. And I'm so inspired by you, and I'm so pleased to have met you, Nathan.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
thank
feel
you.
teary.
I think what I love the most, well, I love lots of things about you. What I love the most is when you said, people tell me I can't, and you respond, watch me. And that really just is the epitome of your life, is watch you. And I think we will continue to watch you, Nathan.
Yeah.
We're going to watch your career, MC Wheels.
Yes, that's me. Yes.
We're going to watch how you're going to just keep going from strength to strength.
Thank you.
And
I
you're going to
appreciate
keep
that.
inspiring people.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well
No,
done.
it's been awesome to be on the show, and I really appreciate you guys having me. Yeah, it's
No
been
worries.
awesome.
Tell me, how can we get your music and follow you?
So obviously, main one, if you go to my website, it has all the links to everything there, which is just www.mcwheels.com.au. My Instagram is all lowercase, no other things, just mcwheels94.
Yeah.
Spotify, just MC Wheels, capital M, capital C, space, capital W, Heels. I'll be in a Lakers jersey and all that sort of stuff. And I don't have Twitter. And then if this for the Spotify name, it's the same for Facebook to find
beautiful.
me. But
So let's get on board. Let's follow Nathan. Let's
Cheer
support
him on.
MC Wheels. Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's it for today's podcast. You'll find us on all the major podcast platforms. The podcasts come out every Wednesday. We'd love to hear from you on our socials, the Gold Diggers Podcast. Tell us about your story so we can find the gold in you.
Easy as pie, lemon, apple or cherry. Loving you is so very sweet, sweet, sweet. How can it be such a piece of cake? And your smile is the icing. Loving you is a party. I need you're my sugar.